the jury.
You may be seated. Ms. Montgomery, I remind you, you are still under oath.
Yes.
I believe when we left off on Friday, morning, by the way, when on Friday we were talking about getting ready to sit down and talk to police after you were arrested on 2 charges of perjury.
Yes.
And you told the police that you wanted to talk to them, but it took a while before you actually talked to them because they had to contact your attorney and write up the letter that set out the terms of what would happen to you based on what you said.
Yes.
And essentially those terms were that what you said couldn't be used against you, but would be used as a gauge for whether or not they wanted to enter into an agreement with you, right?
Yes.
And so if you said something that hurt you, they wouldn't be able to say Kayla admitted to this and charge you with a crime, right?
Right.
But at the same time, if they found evidence independently to support what you said and that you committed a new crime, they could charge you.
I don't remember.
Okay, that's fine. And so this agreement did not include those conditions that you had written while you were in your jail cell thinking of cooperating, right?
Yes.
Because they had not come to you with any sort of cooperation agreement.
Right.
Okay. Now, you knew in going to talk to them that they wanted information about Harmony being missing, right?
Yes.
Whether or not she was alive,
Yes.
when she went missing,
Yes.
under what circumstances she went missing.
Yes.
And these are things that you had been thinking about since the time of your arrest, right?
Yes.
And when you first told the lie to the police and to the grand jury that the last time you saw Harmony, she was driving away with Adam to be taken to her mother, follow-up showed that not to be true, and you knew it, right?
Yes.
And one of the ways that you knew it, other than what you had lived through, but you knew they had found it not to be true, was that you had seen and heard Crystal Sorey talking on the news about her missing child, right?
I didn't see that right when they were questioning me.
Okay. It had been going on for a little bit, though, right?
Yes.
And also, while you were in your jail cell, you got what's called discovery, right?
Yes.
And that is police reports and searches and the results of all that stuff that is sent to you as a part of you being charged for a crime, right?
Yes.
And that discovery included the investigation into Harmony being missing.
Yes.
And it included the charge of the reports and stuff on the charge of second-degree assault against Adam.
Yes.
And so you knew what people had said to the police and stuff about that second-degree assault charge.
Yes.
And you also knew that the charge was for Adam striking Harmony in the face.
Yes.
And you knew that there was a claim of black eyes from that, right?
Yes.
And when you told the police your story of what happened to Harmony, the allegation that you had was striking her in the face, right?
Yes.
And you included a story of black eyes.
Yes.
All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is the timeline of your accusations against Adam. So on June 3rd, you met with the police for a pretty long time, right?
Yes.
And it was, the meeting that you had was audio and video recorded.
Yes.
And your lawyer was present.
Yes.
And the police were generally the ones asking questions.
Yes.
But there was somebody from the Attorney General's office who was also present.
Yes.
And then after that interview, and it was fairly long, right?
Yes.
There was a break in between, but between the two of them, it was really long.
Yes.
And then you got booked for the perjury charges.
Yes.
And during booking, you said something to Detective Dunleavy about Portland pie,
Yes.
and that Adam had taken the body to Portland pie from the freezer and then returned it to Union Street later.
Yes.
The plea agreement, well, then you talked again on the June 23rd.
Yes.
And on June 23rd, that was also audio and video recorded.
Yes.
And about the same amount of people were there,
Yes.
and generally the same people.
Yes.
And after that, you did reach your deal, right?
Yes.
But, and you were out for the interview on June 23rd. You were back out on bail, right?
Yes.
And then, as we talked about, sometime in September, you got arrested and reincarcerated.
Yes.
And then sometime after that, you and your attorney reached, well, you got an agreement with the state.
Yes.
And under that agreement, you could serve a minimum of 2 years.
I don't remember.
I think you testified on direct that you got a 3.5 to 7 suspended and a 3.5 to 7 to serve, but you could get out, you could get 1.5 years suspended off of that, right?
Yes.
So that would be a minimum of 2 years.
Yes.
And you also got credit for the time that you had put in while on bail.
Yes.
And so your parole hearing comes up in a month or two?
May.
May? Okay. Now, after you reached the agreement, you pled to that agreement in November of
Yes.
2022.
Yes.
And then in March of 2023, you had another meeting with the same group of people?
Yes.
And where was that meeting?
At the Attorney General's office in Concord.
And you were housed in the New Hampshire State Prison for Women at that time, right?
Yes.
And you were transported from the prison to the Attorney General's office to talk to him.
Yes.
And that interview was also recorded and video recorded.
Yes.
And generally, the police were asking the questions,
Yes.
and the prosecutor from the state might ask a few.
Yes.
But he was there for the whole thing, watching.
Yes.
And then, so that was March of 2023. And then this December of 2023, you met with the state again, right?
Yes.
And was that the same sort of thing where you were transported from the prison to the Attorney General's office?
No.
Where was that meeting?
At the women's state prison.
Okay. And who was present for that?
Myself and Chris and my lawyer and Amy.
And Amy's somebody who works with the Attorney General's office?
Yes, she's an advocate.
Okay. And there you were not recorded, right?
No.
And that meeting was also a long meeting?
Yes.
Reviewing things that you had said before?
Yes.
Reviewing what your testimony would be at trial?
Yes.
Questioning some things that you had to say?
Yes.
And I think I said it, but it was not recorded.
Right.
And then you met with them again in January?
Yes.
Same sort of situation?
Yes.
And that was around January 10?
Yes.
And was that about as long?
Yeah.
Going through all the stuff that you had said before?
Yes.
Questioning you on the stuff that you had said before?
Yes.
And getting ready to testify here?
Yes.
And then January 19, you met with them again?
January what?
19?
Yes.
And same situation?
Yes.
So that you're going over what you'd said before,
Yes.
going over what you're going to say to the jury,
Yes.
and there might be some questions about what you said before, and so you kind of go back through it and work through that.
Yes.
And was that it as far as meetings?
Yes.
Okay. And during all that time, you had plenty of time to review in your mind your memories and talk about things that you had said.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about some of the things that you've said to the jury and before the jury trial, okay?
Yes.
So you talked about after your eviction, which was November 27,
Yes.
you lived in your car for about 2 weeks.
Yes, a few weeks.
From November 27 to the day it broke down on December 7.
Yes.
Little under 2 weeks.
Yes.
Okay. And as you're evicted, you take some items with you.
Yes.
Take some clothing for the kids.
Yes.
You take the toothbrush for Harmony.
Yes.
Make sure she can brush her teeth while she's in the car.
Yes. We all had toothbrushes.
Huh?
We all had toothbrushes.
Okay, so Declan and Seamus also were brushing their teeth?
Well, they had baby toothbrushes.
Okay. And so you made sure that you packed those things that the kids need for their hygiene.
Yes.
And some clothes for each of them,
Yes.
in addition to what they were wearing.
Yes.
And then you probably got some extra bibs and stuff for when you're feeding Declan.
Yes.
And diapers.
Yes.
And food.
Yes.
Okay. And extra underpants for Harmony.
I don't remember.
Okay. You had outerwear for the kids?
Yes.
Coats and shoes?
Yes.
And socks?
Yes.
And the next day was Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And do you recall where you stayed on Thanksgiving?
No. I don't remember.
You didn't celebrate a Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day, right?
No.
Okay. And the day after Thanksgiving, you went to your mom's house.
Yes.
And you went the day after Thanksgiving to see if she could put you up.
Yes.
And she wasn't able to.
No.
But you were there at her house for a while.
Yes.
And you used that time to clean up the kids
Yes.
because they had been in the car the night before.
Yes.
And to clean them up a lot better than just wiping the boys when you changed their diapers, right?
Yes.
And brushing their teeth
Yes.
and changing their clothes.
Yes.
Did you use her laundry while you were there?
I don't remember.
Okay. And your mom took that time to get to know her grandchildren,
Yes.
including Harmony.
Yes.
And she couldn't put you up, so you had to leave.
Yes.
And you stayed in the car that night.
Yes.
And then, that was, by the way, November 29, the day after Thanksgiving, right?
Yes.
And that's the same day that you had a car accident, right?
The 29th, yes.
Okay, and that was a car accident with Tabitha Scott in the front seat, you in the back seat with the kids,
Yes.
and Adam driving.
Yes.
Sorry. And police came after the accident,
Yes.
and you had Declan in a car seat.
Yes.
Seamus was in some sort of,
He was in a car seat.
okay, and Harmony was not.
No.
You did not have a car seat for Harmony, right?
Right.
And you were in the back, so she wasn't in a seatbelt either, right?
No.
And that was a problem when the police officer came, right?
Yes.
And blanket was thrown over Harmony, and she was told to hide so that the police officer wouldn't know that you had too many kids in the car that were, and one was unrestrained.
No.
Okay. You were hiding the fact that you did not have Harmony restrained in the back seat at the time of the accident.
Yes.
And then Adam had his license at that time, right?
I don't remember if he lost it then or not.
Okay. Well, he was able to drive away from there after the police officer talked to you all, right?
Yes.
So he probably had his license, right?
Probably, yes.
Okay. And Tabitha Scott, your friend that was in the car at the time of the accident, she was a friend, right?
Yes.
And she really liked Harmony, right?
Yes.
She would play with Harmony, right?
Yes.
And sometimes play dress up and stuff like that with her, right?
No, but okay. I don't remember that happening.
Okay. Remember taking photographs and like photoshopping them to put stuff on them and stuff like that in
Yes.
photographs? Okay. And Tabitha was somebody that you would have babysit the kids sometimes.
Yes.
And sometimes it would just be Harmony and you would take the two boys with you, or sometimes she might do all three.
Yes.
And your accident on the 29th, do you recall that being in the afternoon?
I don't remember.
Okay. And do you recall if you went to your mom's before or after that?
I think I went to my mom's later that night.
Okay. And Harmony did not have black eyes when you went to your mom's,
No.
right? So she did not have black eyes when she was in that accident, right?
No.
Pardon?
No.
Okay. Now, December 1st. Well, that was an accident on the 29th, and you made up a lie about November 30th. What did you actually do on November 30th?
I don't remember.
Okay. How about December 1? Do you know what you did that day?
No.
Do you know where you stayed?
In the car?
Do you know where the car was?
No.
Was it at Colonial Village?
I remember that's where we would normally park and sleep in the car.
Okay. You said that Anthony Bodero, and am I pronouncing that right? Bodero?
Yes.
Okay. That he would come down to the car while you were in the parking lot.
Yes.
And I think that you said that he would give you drugs.
Yes.
And that he would see Harmony during that less than 2 week period that you were in the car.
Yes.
And that he would come down, she would wave to him.
Yes.
And he would wave back.
Yes.
And Harmony was not under cover when she would wave to Anthony Bordero.
No.
And she was not hidden from public view or Anthony Bordero's view when he would come down in the morning.
No.
And I think that you said that he might come, maybe not every day, but pretty frequently.
Yes.
And he also brought you some Thanksgiving leftovers.
Yes.
And when he did that, he saw Harmony.
Yes.
Now, there was another accident on December 2nd. Do you remember that?
No.
Do you remember that you had another accident outside of the clinic after the accident on November 29?
Yes.
And that was during a time that you and Adam had been going to the clinic, right?
Yes.
And the kids were not with you at that time.
I don't remember if they were there or not.
Okay. So it is, and I think you said reviewing the accident report would not refresh your recollection? Or would it?
I don't remember.
If I gave you the accident report, do you think it might refresh your recollection?
I will try and remember.
I've got a 1, 2, 3, 4-page document, and I've actually highlighted the date on the first page just because there's so much information. But do you think if you review the accident report, it might refresh your recollection that your kids were not in the car?
I remember the accident, but I don't remember if the kids were in the car or not.
Okay.
Even looking at this, I don't remember. I just remember we were in an accident
Okay.
outside the clinic.
Okay. And I think we talked about that a little bit on Friday, that the police asked you about that as well
Yes.
during your interview, right?
Yes.
And that you said that maybe Tabitha or maybe your mom was babysitting the kids.
Yes.
So if you were in the accident and the kids were not with you, they would have been with somebody that you trusted to babysit them.
Yes.
Harmony would not have been hidden from whoever that babysitter was.
No.
Harmony would not have been hidden from public view.
No.
Harmony would not have been hidden under a blanket.
No.
Now, do you recall it snowing at all while you were staying at the Colonial Village parking lot?
I know that there was snow on and off.
Okay. There was actually a bit of a storm. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. And that was when you were parked at Colonial Village.
Yes.
And did you go inside to the Bodero's residence during that storm?
I don't remember going in there.
Okay. Did you ever take the children into Mr. Bodero's residence to brush their teeth or to clean them up or anything like that?
I remember bringing the kids up to his apartment, but I don't remember when that was.
Okay. So let's talk about living in the car. You got a couple of boys that are quite young.
Yes.
One is about 11 months,
Yes.
and your other son was 2.5-ish.
Yes.
And they can only stay in the same position one time for a certain amount of time, right?
Right.
And then they start getting pretty rambunctious, right?
Yes.
And fussy.
Yes.
And Declan, if he gets fussy, will cry.
Yes.
And that'll make Seamus cry.
I don't remember that.
Okay. And Harmony also, maybe not as rambunctious, but would get pretty fussy about being in the car for a long time, right?
Yes.
And so you would try and find ways to entertain them.
Yes.
And one of the ways that you entertained them was to go to a public place like maybe the mall, just to get them walking around inside for a while.
I don't remember that.
You remember losing your phone at the mall while you were walking, you and Adam were walking around with the kids?
No.
Okay.
One of the ways that you would entertain them was to take them to places like Walmart when you were shopping for more food. I don't remember going there.
Okay. What were the ways that you entertained them?
I don't remember what we did with them. I just remember living in the car.
Okay. But you didn't have the children in the car 24/7, right?
I don't remember.
Okay. Did you play or take them to walk on those balance beams and stuff on that little play center at the back of the parking lot at Colonial?
I don't remember.
Okay. Let's talk about the food that you had. You would eat things like tortilla wraps,
Yeah, we had tortilla wraps.
bananas,
Yes.
peanut butter,
Yes.
apples,
I don't remember apples.
baby food,
Yes.
cereal,
Yes.
formula,
Yes.
and if you had cereal, you had milk.
I don't remember keeping milk in the car like that, but
Okay.
possibly.
So if you had baby cereal, Seamus would just eat it dry.
Yes.
And what was Seamus eating at that time? He was doing a mix of baby food and real food?
Yes.
Okay. And sometimes you'd feed him your food,
Yes.
little bits, right?
Yes.
And you'd have to make sure that he took it and put it in his mouth, right?
Yes.
Instead of dropping it on the car floor.
Yes.
And Declan had formula. Did he also
Baby food.
Baby food?
Yes.
How about the cereal?
No.
So you would have to turn around and feed Declan in the back seat, or would you put him on your lap and feed him in the front seat?
I'd turn his car seat around so that he'd be facing that direction so I could feed him.
Okay. And diapers?
Yes.
So when Declan or Seamus would go to the bathroom in the car, they would be
Yes.
going to the bathroom in diapers, right?
Yes.
And Declan, his diapers didn't smell too much, right? Because he was still just a baby.
I don't remember.
Okay. But Seamus's diapers would smell, right?
Yes.
And so Seamus and Declan are both going to the bathroom in the car in their diapers,
Yes.
and you would change them where?
In the car.
And all the time?
If we were just living in our car, yes.
And then you would throw the diapers in the dumpster?
Yes.
And certainly in Colonial Village, you had a dumpster nearby.
Yes.
And then you would try to clean them up more than just the wipes when you change their diapers, right?
Yes.
And that would be in public restrooms.
I don't remember going to public restrooms.
Where would you clean them more than just wipes?
I don't remember.
But you remember that you would.
I remember cleaning them with wipes. I don't remember bringing them to any, like, restroom or stuff like that. I don't remember that.
Okay. So you talked about going to your mother's on the 29th of November. Is that the last time that they got a thorough cleaning?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well, you wouldn't do that to your kids, right?
I wouldn't, but if I was stuck in the situation I was stuck in, then yeah.
Okay. You had your own hygiene to worry about in the car, right?
Yes.
And I think that you said on direct that you would ask Harmony to come with you, and sometimes she wouldn't,
Right?
sometimes she would.
Yes.
And where would you go for your hygiene?
If we ended up going to a gas station that had a bathroom,
Okay. So one of the places that you used to clean yourself and Harmony up was public restroom in a gas station.
yes.
Perhaps convenience store,
Yes.
perhaps Walmart.
I don't remember going to Walmart.
Okay. So sometimes she would come out of the car with you and go into the convenience store and you would clean her up, right?
Yes.
And she would not be under a blanket.
No.
Right. And sometimes she didn't go with you.
Right.
And if she had not gone to the bathroom for a long time, would you insist?
I would ask her.
Uh-huh. And she would say what?
She would say no, she doesn't have to use the bathroom.
Okay. And if she hadn't gone to the bathroom for all day, would you insist that she go to the bathroom with you?
Yes.
And when you insisted, did she go with you?
No.
Okay. Okay. Now, you talked about sometimes Harmony would go to the bathroom in the car.
Yes.
Was she wearing underwear during that whole time?
Yes.
Where did you clean her underwear?
We didn't clean her underwear.
Okay. And I think that you said it was urinating and defecating in the car.
Yes.
And I'll call it pee and poop, okay?
Yes.
And so you said that she did both.
Yes.
And then, so suppose she peed in the car. What would you do to clean it up?
We would change her clothes.
Okay, what else?
That's it.
Would you clean the car?
Wipe the seat, yeah.
Okay. And would you clean the underwear that she was wearing?
No, they'd get put in a bag.
Okay. So you had like maybe 7 or 8 or 9 pair of underwear for her to wear?
I don't remember.
Okay. And you said we would clean her up. That would be you and Adam?
Yes.
And when she... How many sets of clothes did she have?
I don't remember.
Probably just a couple, right?
Yeah.
Sustained.
Okay. Do you know if you had more than a couple?
I don't remember.
Okay. But if she urinated in her pants, you would have to not only change her underpants, but also her leggings, right?
Yes.
And do you know if you had a bunch of leggings as well as a bunch of underpants to replace them?
I don't remember.
Okay. And then when she pooped, you would clean her?
Yes.
You would wipe her with the baby wipes?
Yes.
And then would you take her to a public restroom to get her more cleaned?
No.
Overruled.
Pardon?
I don't remember.
I'm sorry. It's okay.
No, I don't remember.
Okay. So, and you would sort of understand that she was going through a difficult time because of so many changes in her life?
Yes.
And so you would understand and tell her, Harmony, I know this is difficult, but you really have to tell us when you go to the bathroom,
Yes.
before you go to the bathroom, right?
Yes.
Because, and you tried to encourage, come with me, we'll take care of it, we'll be in the bathroom, come with me, right?
Yes.
And, did you ever buy pull-ups for her when it became more than a one-time thing?
I don't remember.
Okay. Something you might have thought of, right?
I don't remember.
Okay. And being cooped up in that car for so much time with the kids was a little bit difficult, right?
Yes.
And it was difficult for the kids too, right?
Yes.
So sometimes chaos would just erupt, right?
Yes.
Declan crying, Seamus crying, Harmony crying, right?
No.
Okay.
They never really cried that much.
Okay. But when they cried, it would sort of cascade, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. And it's like what's happening to one would go to the other, and it would just be chaos, right?
Yes.
And how would you sue them?
I don't remember.
Now, you said that Bodero didn't want you staying at the Colonial Village parking lot, right?
Right.
He was actually afraid somebody might notice and he would
Yes.
get in trouble.
Yes.
But you also said that he came down daily or every other day or so to give you drugs.
Yes.
So he didn't want to come down and in public hand drugs over to a car that's squatting in a parking lot where it shouldn't be.
Right.
Did he? He came down to meet with Adam.
Yes.
And Adam occasionally would drive him places because Adam had his license.
Right.
And he would drive Madero's car and you would be there with the kids.
I don't remember that.
Okay. But he would have Adam driving him places?
I remember he did that when we were staying at the house. I don't remember him doing that when we lived in the car.
Okay. Well, Badero wasn't. Did you have money while you were in the car?
Not really.
Okay. So you pretty much had to count your pennies when you bought more food and stuff like that.
Yes.
And you couldn't splurge in anything because it was pretty tight, right?
Yes.
But when Adam would meet up with Mr. Badero, he would be able to get some drugs.
Yes.
And Anthony Badero was not giving him drugs for free.
No.
Right. Adam was doing Anthony some favors.
I don't remember that.
Hold on. Approach. Objection is sustained. The question can be rephrased.
So when Adam and Anthony got together, after a while, Adam would be able to come back with some drugs.
Not when we were living in the car.
Anthony Badero was not giving out drugs for free, right?
Overruled.
Right?
Sometimes he would, sometimes he wouldn't.
Okay. And actually, on the day that your car died, and you described going to the clinic and coming out and going to Burger King and then going back to the parking lot, Adam asked you to go up to Anthony Badero's to get some drugs, right?
I don't remember.
Okay. And he asked you to do it because Anthony might front you a bag because he never says no, right?
Approach.
And that he asked you to go to Badero's to get drugs that day because Badero would front you.
Overruled. It's cross-examination. You may proceed.
Would front you a bag because he never says no to you, right?
That's not true.
Which part?
That he never says no to me.
Okay. But on that day, that's why Adam asked you to go up to Badero's to get some drugs.
I don't remember that day.
Okay.
Overruled.
I'm going to show you a copy of the transcript of the interview that you did with the police on the 23rd. And it's marked Defendant's Exhibit 2, D2 for ID.
Could you say that? Could you just repeat the
Exhibit number D2 for ID.
D2? Okay, D2. Thank you.
So may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Okay. Now, we talked about your interview on June 23rd with police. I'll come up in a second, right?
Yes.
And that interview was recorded, right?
Yes.
And Detective Jack Dunleavy was there,
Yes.
and Detective Max Rahill,
Yes.
and a U.S. Marshal was there,
Yes.
and an Assistant Attorney General was there,
Yes.
and your attorney was there,
Yes.
and you were there.
Yes.
And that was June 23rd. I'm going to show you a copy of this transcript and point out some stuff so you'll know that's what I'm talking about, okay? Let's see the date
Yes.
and the people that were present.
Yes.
And so I'm going to point you to page, and like with anything that I give you, I'm going to point to an area that I'm interested in, but you can read before and after to sort of orient yourself, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to point you to page, to that area there and ask you to take a look.
Yes?
Your recollection about what you did that day?
I remember saying that, but I still don't remember that happen. I don't know. I don't remember that day. I don't remember that happening that specific day.
I'm going to unpack that a little bit, okay? And I pointed you to something that you told the police officers and everybody else that was there on June 23rd, right?
Yes.
And on June 23rd, you were present to let them know, maybe to correct some stuff from June 3rd and talk more about what happened back in December of 2019.
Yes.
And they wanted you knew they wanted you to talk about your memory, right?
Yes.
They didn't want you to make something up, right?
Right.
And you had had plenty of time to think about it, right?
Yes.
And to remember what happened, right?
Yes.
And some of the details that they were interested in, they sort of they talked about in June 3rd.
Yes.
And so are you saying that you didn't remember that day when you spoke to them on June 23rd? or that you did remember it in June 23rd, but you've forgotten now?
I don't remember that specific thing
Uh-huh.
on that day. Like me actually going to see Tone and asking for a bag of drugs. I don't remember that.
But it is something that you told the police that day, right?
Right.
And that you and Adam were in the car, and you went up to Tone's to get a bag of drugs. That's me. I knew that tone. But let me actually check, because I don't know that I checked it when I walked in. Okay. So it was not me, but if I could make sure mine's off. You're not disagreeing that you did tell the police that, you just don't remember telling the police that.
Right.
And if you did tell the police that back in June of 2023, you would have been telling them, this is what I remember.
Right.
So, you don't remember it today, but you told them that you went up to get,
Approach? Oh, asked and answered? Overruled. Go ahead.
drugs from your friend Tone Badero.
I don't remember that specific thing happening that day because I've done it a lot of times.
Okay, but you're not disagreeing that you told him that that's what you did that day?
Right.
Okay. And Tone sometimes will give you drugs for free,
Right.
but that's not what he normally does.
Right.
Okay. And throughout the time that you were in the car, Adam would do things to find ways to get money to buy drugs from Mr. Badero.
Yes.
And one of the ways that he did that was to do things for Mr. Badero.
Not while we were living in the car.
Okay. Now, there were a lot of people that parked at the Colonial Village parking lot, right?
Yes.
And it might not have a whole lot of people during the day, but in the morning before work and in the afternoon after work, it was pretty full.
Yes.
And you did not want to be noticed in the parking lot
Right.
because somebody might tell on you and you'd have to leave.
Right.
And you wanted to be there close to Mr. Badero's apartment.
Yes.
But especially in the morning and in the afternoon when people were moving around more before work and coming home from work, you wanted the kids pretty quiet.
If they were quiet. I don't remember.
Well, you didn't want your children screaming in the car, right?
Right.
You wouldn't want that cascade of chaos where Declan might cry and then everybody starts crying.
That's not a normal thing that would happen.
And you wouldn't want it to happen, right?
Right.
You would want them, especially during that time period, to be pretty quiet so nobody notices.
I don't remember that.
Almost every morning, you went to the clinic in the morning.
Yes.
Maybe you missed one, but certainly not. It was a regular daily thing, right?
Right.
You would get up and you would leave the parking lot, go to the clinic, get your dosage, and then go off somewhere else.
Right.
Might go to Burger King,
Yes.
might go to a gas station,
Yes.
might go to some other place and use the facilities and restroom.
I don't remember that.
Okay, if you went to a gas station, you would use the facilities, right?
Right, but never mind.
Okay. There were other places that you went besides a gas station and Burger King, right?
Right.
Okay. And if facilities were available to use, you would take the opportunity to take the kids out and clean them up.
Yes.
Okay. And if Harmony had messed her clothes, would you hand wash the clothes?
Objection, Your Honor. Asked and answered.
Overruled.
No.
Okay.
We'd change her clothes.
Okay. But if she peed in her pants, her clothes would still smell like urine.
Right.
And if she did it a lot, you had a limited amount of clothes, right?
Right.
And if she pooped her pants, you'd also have to remove the clothes and change them with something else.
Right.
And you didn't have 2 weeks worth of clothes for Harmony.
No.
As a matter of fact, you described what Harmony was wearing, and it was pretty much the same thing the whole time, right?
No.
The leggings that you remembered that she was wearing,
Right.
those were the leggings that she was wearing when she left the house.
No.
Okay. And I was talking about money, that Adam would find ways to get some money. You were not working, right?
Right.
And you were not pulling in any money, right?
Right.
You were watching the kids.
We were staying in our car.
And you were watching the kids, right?
Yeah.
And you were not working.
No.
And you talked on direct when you were being questioned by the state, and you said that you had confessed to your crime of theft at Dunkin' Donuts, right?
Yes.
And you said that you had taken responsibility for that crime, right?
Yes.
Well, you actually got caught in that theft, right?
Yes.
And you were given an option of writing a confession and reaching a restitution agreement, or the police would be called.
Yes.
And so accepting responsibility was taking the lesser way out of the problem so that you wouldn't get a theft charge.
Right.
And you reached an agreement to get out of criminal charges.
Right.
Okay. You were held responsible for that charge, for that
Yes.
crime, right?
Yes.
Just in a different way. By the way, when you used drugs in the car, you wouldn't use them all. You would sort of spread out the usage as much as you could.
Yes.
And so you may not get that as good of a feeling as you would get if you had more money and a better situation, right?
No.
Okay. Doing the drugs sort of eased life's worries?
Not really.
Okay. Yeah, because life's worries still intruded even while you were using the drugs, right?
Yes.
And especially if the kids were fussy and everything, you couldn't just sit back and relax with the drugs. You still had to pay attention to the kids.
Right.
And if they were crying, you still had to soothe the kids.
Yes.
And if they needed changing, or Seamus, Peter pooped in the car, or Harmony, Peter pooped in the car, you couldn't just sit back and relax. You had to do something.
Yes.
Okay. We talked about those several statements that you gave to the police and the prosecutor from the Attorney General's office about the death of Harmony.
Yes.
And those stories changed a bit over time.
Yes.
And when you first told the story, you said that Harmony was peeing and pooping in the car, and Adam punched her 10 to 15 times in the parking lot of the Colonial.
Yes.
And that it was like at 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yes.
And when the officer asked, you mean in the overnight hours, you said yes, it was in the overnight hours that this happened.
Yes.
Because something did happen at 2 or 3 in the morning on the day that Harmony died.
Yes.
And that was that Adam got in the car and Harmony did not wake up.
No, that's not what happened.
Okay. What happened at 2 or 3 in the morning on that day?
Harmony had an accident and Adam kept punching her in the head.
Okay. At 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah, it was still like, it was the middle of the night.
And so, in the middle of the night at 2 or 3 in the morning, you're saying that Adam punched her 10 to 15 times.
Yes.
And Harmony was crying,
Yes.
screaming.
Yes.
Declan would start screaming.
I don't remember what Declan and Seamus were doing.
Well, that cascade effect that when one of them is crying and there's chaos in the car, all of them were crying, right?
Not really.
Okay. And then what did you do?
What did I do?
Yeah.
I tried telling him to stop, but he doesn't listen.
Okay. What did you do about the mess?
I didn't do anything about the mess.
Did you clean the car?
No.
Did you clean Harmony?
No.
Was it a pee or a poop?
I don't remember.
Smells are considerably different, right?
Right.
Both
But the
of 'em-
car already stunk.
It stunk from all the kids living in the car, eating in the car, peeing and pooping in the car, and food being left around the car, right?
Yes.
And body odor.
Yes.
And so if Harmony peed in her seat at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, are you saying that you left her sitting in a puddle of pee?
Yes.
And if she pooped at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, you're saying you left her sitting in her own defecation?
Yes.
Why?
Because I was scared of Adam.
Did he tell you don't clean her up?
No, but when I told him to stop, he gave me the crazy eyes that he has, and I just didn't want to do anything because I was scared of him.
Okay. And then things calmed down and everybody went to sleep?
No?
Everybody stayed up?
I don't remember if everybody stayed up, but I know I didn't go back to bed.
Okay. So you were up till 2 or 3 in the morning until you woke up, until it was time to go to the clinic.
Yes.
And I think the clinic was 7 or 8 in the morning?
7.
Okay. So you sat in the car and did nothing until 7 in the morning,
Right.
and you don't remember kids crying and screaming?
No.
I believe that you testified on direct that Adam woke up and smelled pee or poop.
Yes.
Do you know which that was?
I'm sorry.
Urination or defecation, do you recall?
No.
Okay. And he got mad at her for peeing or pooping in the car.
Yes.
Was it a fresh pee or poop?
I don't know.
Okay. So you don't know if she peed or pooped in the car from 2 or 3 in the morning?
No.
Okay. And one of the things I think that you described Adam saying at one of the things was, why don't you let us know?
Yes.
Like he's surprised at Harmony that she's smelling in the morning? So you're saying he struck her in the morning before the clinic because I think that you said before to the police because she peed herself while still in the parking lot,
Yes.
and that made him mad, you said?
Yes.
And so she peed before you went to the clinic?
It just smelled like urination all the
Okay.
time.
Okay. And she didn't have any injuries that you saw that morning, right?
No.
And you go to the clinic, right?
Yes.
And at the clinic, the two of you have to go in one at a time, right?
Yes.
And the reason that you have to go in one at a time is because somebody had tattled on you at some time earlier for leaving the kids in the car while the two of you went together.
Yes.
And so you were parked in the clinic right out front,
Yes.
and other people are also getting their dosage.
Yes.
And at least at some point, people were paying attention about, well, I'll take that back. So you're right out front of the clinic. I think you, looking at the paperwork, saw that you went in first,
Yes.
and then Adam went in.
Yes.
And did you take that time to clean the car?
No.
Why?
Because I didn't.
Okay. I think you testified that when Adam got in the car, you said, "I'm hungry, and I'm sure the kids are hungry."
Yes.
And it was you that wanted to go to Burger King for food.
Yes.
And did you want to go to Burger King because you were hungry?
Yes.
Did you want to go to Burger King because you wanted to clean the car?
No.
Why not?
I didn't.
Okay. Just you were hungry and you thought maybe the kids were hungry too.
Yes.
Okay. And Adam drove to Burger King to get you food and food for the kids.
Yes.
And Adam was not interested in food, right?
That's not true.
Why not?
Because he was hungry too.
Okay. Do you remember telling the prosecutor that Adam, I'm sorry, on March 16, of 2023. Do you recall telling the prosecutor that Adam was not interested in food?
No.
All right, I'm gonna take a different exhibit. Actually, I'm gonna use a different copy. I'm going to show you a copy of a transcript of the interview of March 16, 2023. And like before, I'm going to ask you to read a portion of it, and then I'm going to ask you a question, okay?
Okay.
So here it is, not quite as pretty. I'm going to be asking you about this, but you could read before or after,
Okay.
okay? You know when you're ready. Okay?
Yeah.
And so you, during that interview, told the police that Adam didn't care if he ate or not, right?
Right.
He wasn't there because he wanted to eat, right?
Right.
And if the prosecutor said in opening that he went to Burger King because he wanted to eat, and he did eat while driving away, that's not your recollection, right?
No.
Okay. And that's not something you ever told the police, right?
Right.
It's just plain wrong. No, withdraw your. And one of your claims is that on the way to Burger King, and I think that you said that he gets in the car at the clinic and smells
Urine.
urine and says, Harmony, why do you keep doing that? Why don't you tell us when you have to go?
Yes.
And he got angry outside the clinic,
Yes.
and he struck her in the head
Yes.
in front of the clinic,
In the car. Yes.
in the car, right?
Yes.
Where people are going in and out of the clinic.
Yes.
And where at one point somebody had noticed that you left your kids alone in the car and told on you, right?
Yes.
Okay. You said that he was also yelling at her.
Yes.
And you told the jury that she was making weird noises on the way to Burger King.
Yes.
Okay. And you said that there were 3 different events on the way to Burger King, 3 different times that he was maybe at a stoplight or something and would strike her again,
Yes.
and yelling at her,
Yes.
and striking her 3 to 4 times each event,
Yes.
and Harmony's crying,
Yes.
and Declan's crying,
Yes.
and Seamus is crying.
No.
Why not?
Not just because somebody's crying doesn't mean the other one cries.
Adam yelling in the car did
Yeah.
not cause Seamus to cry.
No.
And Adam striking Seamus's sister right next to him didn't cause Seamus to cry.
No, he didn't.
And
know what was
Harmony
going
crying in pain didn't cause Seamus to cry.
on. No.
Okay. Okay. You said the final time that Adam hit Harmony in the head, he said he felt something.
Yes.
That, and I think you claim that Adam said, I think I heard her this time, I did something.
Yes.
And was that in a scared voice?
Yes.
Okay, so Adam thought perhaps he went overboard?
Yes.
And this was pulling into the parking lot at Burger King?
Yes.
And so, being scared, he drives up to the drive-in window.
Yes.
He orders the food that you want.
Yes.
He pays cash.
I don't remember.
Okay? When you spoke to police back in June of 2022, you recalled that he paid in cash.
Objection, Your Honor.
Basis?
If we may approach.
Okay. This is a good time for a break. I'm going to ask the witness to stay there. We'll take 15 minutes, and then we will resume the testimony. All rise for the jurors, please. Same reminders, ladies and gentlemen, don't talk about the testimony, please. You may step down. All right, 15 minutes, everybody.